Do you have the mindset for success? Or are you feeling frustrated in life or your career? Or stressed you can't find love or happiness? Hi, I'm Coach Riana Milne, and I can help you turn your pain into your purpose and passion by using my Mindset for Success system. Learn the Motivational Mindset for Success coaching system that has helped thousands of my clients over 40 years, and it can help you too. It's time to create the life you desire and to have the love you deserve.
One of my grads, I just found out she was coming in, and I love when my graduates show up because I can tell the stories, but no one tells it better than them. Between, what they have learned. Beth was in a Life and Love Transformation group program with about 12 or 14 ladies, I think, about that. And we had such a good time, and everyone had such amazing personal transformation. So, as I'm going through PowerPoint, you can ask questions and she can answer however you want. She knows the program backwards and forwards. I will also ask you questions as we go through the slide. Oh, Louise is here too. Hey, Louise, I love her. She's a recent graduate too, along with Beth. And Louise, if you want to pop up and answer any questions for anyone, and if I can spill the beans, Louise, she got engaged while she was working with me, one of her goals. And we made that happen. Whatever your goals are, I take them very seriously. We work together in all kinds of personal transformation. The class will explain more. And like I said, the case studies that I've selected for tonight fits the topic that we're talking about. So it all comes together. But as I said, my clients always say it best. I love them. I've been working with people 25 years as a therapist and a trauma recovery coach, but 40 years doing mindset work, starting with my model and talent agency in school at the age of 26. So I helped small town people reach their goals and dreams in modeling, singing, acting, and dancing, including my own daughter, Alexi, who ended up on 3 multi-platinum CDs. So whatever your dream is, we get it rolling and work towards those goals. So it's really, really cool stuff. So, guys, I'm going to disappear for a little bit and turn on a PowerPoint. All right. It is going from surviving to thriving. I just feel like everybody's so crazed out there today. A lot of high anxiety, a lot of bouts of depression, a lot of fear-based negative thinking. And that's why I'm putting this class together. And it is personal transformation, whatever I teach, whether it's a VIP client like Louise was or a group client like Beth. It is personal transformation in life, love, and business. We look at everything, which is super important because one area of your life will always impact the next. About this class, again, there's going to be a lesson, case study, and then your question answered plus discussion. You will get this free ebook that I have written, Personal Transformation. It'll be a great summary of what we go over for tonight. It was the prelude to writing a brand new workbook for this group class that I'll be inviting you to tonight, and already the notebook's up to 60 pages. I'm never do any fluff courses. Everything I do is so intentional that everything will work for you. I'm very, very intent to making sure you get the personal transformations you are each looking for individually. At the end, I'll invite you to join a new transformation class with great bonuses that are offered for you tonight. So why personal transformation now? Well, there's so much political unrest, and whatever your political beliefs is, it's just a sign pointing to the unrest and anger going on in our world. There's just been such uncertainty in our country for a long time. I always look at our family as the catalyst for sharing love. We call it agape love, unconditional love with whoever we meet. We're always looking out for other people. We're always trying to be peacemakers, but without being people pleasing. And there is a big difference there. We are looking to shine our light and help where we can. If these conversations come up, you can be the one that say, hey, everyone's entitled to their point of view. And then we drop it. Unfortunately, there's global wars going on. In my age, I never thought I would see another one since Vietnam. And this has been very sad, or Afghanistan, where my niece and nephew served. So the global wars are very upsetting with so many innocent people being hurt and dying. Of course, there's the economic pressures from post-COVID, interest hikes. A lot of small businesses are struggling. So it's all this change. Online, there tends to be a shopping mentality. Dating can be definitely difficult if you don't have what I call the art and psychology of dating successfully. And there is a difference. It's super important that you know the dating skills, the do's and the don'ts, whether you're in straight or LGBT world, because the rules are the same for everyone. And there are really great people out there in both worlds, and there are really bad narcissists out there in both worlds. We want to have the skills and the empowerment to date consciously. I'll be going into that a little bit more. Our teens are feeling definitely lost, angry, depressed, and anxious. And this kid that shot President Trump was 20. All the school shootings, the anxiety, the depression, these are what I also call the COVID impact kids, that they were out of school for 2 years. So there's going to be a lot more anxiety in that age group. This is what we call childhood trauma. The COVID kids who were impacted, we're going to see more of that impact as they enter their 20s, young adulthood. AI is changing our workforce in a lot of ways and how we do business individually. It is a large learning curve for many, and for some, there's job losses. For me, I like a good challenge. I've been with an AI coach since January. I signed up. I think that's coach number 13 for me, but I'm really having a good time. If you haven't tried my new chat bot on my website, it's really cool. You just go in and answer any question, and it answers it as exactly if it were me. It is so exact. It's crazy. Then there's, extreme weather situations, which is hurting many of our people in many communities. So this is the reason. It's just all seems to be escalating in these past 6 months. My clients know we always ask, what can we do? Because if you live on this other side, which we call the dark side, this is where anxiety, depression lies. We're always feeling the victim. We feel like there's nothing we can do. And whenever a challenge comes to us or we're feeling uncertain, this is the first question in our mind. We do this in every life area. We can improve our self-love and confidence to handle these new challenges and our world changes. The stronger we are empowered and the more our mindset is focused on our own lives and what we desire for our life, the less is what is happening out here in our world. That whole global condition impacts us less. We do prepare for emergencies, but we don't get obsessed by it. For example, I do have a solar battery pack. If my electricity goes out, I have radios. If the cell towers go down, we go right on our radios. We have food substances put away in case my home is hit by a hurricane. So we are preparers, which I call preppers, but I don't have cans and cans excessively sitting in my garage either. Be smart enough to see what's going on in their world and prepare, but don't get obsessed by it. Keep politics to yourself, be open-minded, and just hear the other's opinions. And you can just say, yeah, I can see your point of view, but I don't really talk about politics. And then just let it lie. Focus on your own self, your children's, and your family's needs. That's the most important, that you know how this mindset can be totally focused in. And by improving your own mindset and what we call empowered communication and your work skills, however, they have to be adjusted. And I help everyone in their career and business when you work with me. We set you up to thrive and reach your goals and dreams versus just surviving in a world like today. Understanding personal transformation. Why do you think personal transformation is important for you personally and during this time in your life?
Well, since I've done the work with Riana, I've been pretty good at maintaining my reframing and capping and keeping my mind very positive in every situation. When I have low days, I just go exercise more. It's like I have the tools to regain my sense of positivity. And, it's like we have to fight those negative thoughts that come in us. Sometimes I attribute it to a full moon, or God is in the air, and so we have to fight the negativism a little bit harder. But maybe also, if I want to frame it in a positive way, this is an exercise to reinforce my brain skill. If it goes good all the time, then we lose the sense that we're still good at it. But if we have to use the skill once in a while, it reinforces it even more.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you. That was great. Selena, what was doing was no longer serving her. So she is new at learning the capping and correcting, but it's been really helping her so far. And Camille, what I'm doing now does not seem to be working to find my joy and purpose in life. Okay, great. So the first thing we have to do is recognize it. And here you are on this class. So touche to you guys for showing up and being here. That's step one. Knowing something that you want to change it and you want to feel happy or you want to feel that sense of joy. And what area of life would you like to examine more for yourself? Would it be life, meaning feeling better about yourself? Would it be love and your love relationship, if you have one, or the dating skills? So you find someone more emotionally healthy? Or is it business to help your business grow? Selena's life, which is how you feel personally, would be life or overall balance and so forth. So, who am I to teach the class? And please forgive me, my people that know me already. For those that are new, they don't know my background. I've taught personal transformation for over 40 years. And that started out really in my teens when I was reading Mindset for Success books and taking seminars and sitting in with coaches. I was a big Tony Robbins follower. Yes, I walked on the hot coals and I just loved everything I was learning because, of course, I came from childhood trauma and it made me feel happy to get these skills. And then when I opened my own model and talent school and agency, I opened up with my first month's rent after a bankruptcy. And within 6 months, I went and competed for the International Model and Talent Association School of the Year and won Educational Excellence. And by the year, I went back. It's every 6 months, one in LA and one in New York. So I'm competing against schools across the world. And in that first year, I won Model and Talent School of the Year. I would love doing transformation for my models. They didn't just learn modeling skills, they learned life skills. They needed to have the guts to perform and hear tons of rejection and have the mindset to just keep moving forward. I had a dancer that wanted to be a rockette. She became a rockette. I had an auto mechanic in Erie, Pennsylvania, wanted to be a model. He was a big, beefy guy, blonde hair, blue eyes, real cute. Michael. And I said, no, you belong on Baywatch. He goes, oh my God, that's my life stream. I said, let's make it happen. He ended up on Baywatch. It was so fun for me to work with people's dreams and goals. And they called me the dream maker. I had in that agency from age 5 through 80. Hildy was my oldest. Her husband came in and yelled at me when she took the money out of their account to pay for modeling. And she goes, if not now, when? And Hildy became one of my busiest booked models. She did senior banking, senior retirement homes, billboards, brochures. The husband came in and apologized because I really have to say, I'm sorry because I lashed out at you. And my wife, I've never seen her so happy. And we are enjoying the money. I always believe you have a goal and a dream. Let's make it happen. It's very exciting for me to see that happen for you. I always wanted to be a counselor since I was a young kid and I was not allowed to go to counseling. So I raised my girls and went back for a triple master's in psychology. So year 2000, I opened up Therapy by the Sea. 2025, starting in August, starts my 25th year. So I'm really happy I've reached the many years as a licensed mental health counselor. And I went on to be certified as advanced certified clinical trauma professional. SAC means a student's assistance counselor in the schools. And I worked with the emotionally upset students from kindergarten all the way through college. LCADC means a licensed drug and alcohol counselor. I use 29 modalities in coaching. I'm like, 29 is a weird number. I'm sure I have 30. So I'm probably forgetting one, but all the ones I use, all my clients for coaching get the benefits of all of that in the coaching system. And because it's worked so well over these years, I trademarked it. Dating to Mating is my Queen program. It's been so successful with people of all ages, men, women, straight. My LGBTQ clients just loved it. And then I've been honored and featured in many magazines and online platforms. And it was really nice to be awarded Top 100 Successful Women globally. And I won locally the Hall of Fame Award for 4 consecutive years, being the best psychotherapist and life coach in our area. These are just some of the magazine covers that I have been awarded. And of course, I have a triple master's in clinical and counseling psychology. I have heard lately like a lot of bad press about coaches. And that concerned me because I know how hard I work and my daughter works, and they are global coaches and my son-in-law. And we have worked very, very hard. And I've invested over 350,000 in my education over the years. And I continue to do so because I love to learn and grow. I think that keeps you excited in life and feeling very young. And just so you know, a little bit about my family, the upper left is Alexi and Preston. They have four adorable kids. The twins are Zai and Zahara. Four kids, 5 and under. Those are the global coaches that do very well. My grandkids, I was able to wrestle them together. Down lower right is my daughter Stefan, her husband Charles, and Logan and Simon when they were young. I just happen to love that picture. She is the president of the Florida Freedom to Read Project. She is fighting to get the American rights to read what we choose. She has already addressed Congress. She's been on CNN, Jake Tapper, and she started that from just a passion that we should retain our American rights. So she has a lot of guts. Both my girls are amazing. And then Chris and I are there in Portugal. He is so fabulous. And that's what I always want for you all is that emotionally healthy, incredible love. Understanding personal transformation, the definition and importance of it. It's a fundamental change in how we view ourselves and our place in the world. The key components of it are self-awareness, self-improvement, and growth. It requires us to examine our beliefs, our attitudes, our behaviors, and our goals ongoing and consistently, which we call consciously, and to be open to new ways of thinking and being. It involves a willingness to stop old patterns that no longer serve us. And that's the tough part because they're so subconscious. So my clients know that it takes a period of time. I chose my background of the rainbow today because I always talk about the rainbow of change. There is a large learning curve, but once you start practicing and getting it and digesting it, and when you learn from different modalities. So either my coaching, which are words, the reading of their books, Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams, the working in the workbook, which is called bibliotherapy, writing out answers and really thinking about it, keeping journals. It's a educational method that brings in a lot of different teaching modalities so that they really get it and it's easier to practice it. So by doing all of that, you develop a greater resiliency when challenges happen. We know challenges will happen. We're not living in this la-la world of everything will be perfect. But as Louise beautifully said, when a challenge comes, it gives us a chance to stop, refocus, say, now, why am I being triggered? What do I have to do to fix this? What can I do? And what's my plan A, B, or C to fix this situation? And then we know how to change our state of being. And when she says, okay, I'll go exercise and get my mind off this and my solutions will come. So there's these patterns, these new solutions that we use when challenges come. And also the whole thing is really cool because it really builds more meaningful and loving connections with other people. It's just amazing how that happens. And you have this new compassion for others, where before we might have been triggered if someone's upset. We really understand childhood trauma and triggers. And it's like, oh, they're getting upset because this happened. And we know it's not always about us now. We don't take it personally. So there's a new way of reaching this beautiful, loving, kind understanding for people more and not being so upset about things or taking things so personally. So it's a really cool understanding of psychology. Really, you're learning a lot of psychology in this system. So it's not just about achieving specific goals. However, that's a big part of it. It's becoming the best versions of ourselves, being confident, increasing our self-love, being true to our values, not compromising, not settling for less, while at the same time we're reaching our goals and dreams. And it involves staying very positively focused on your desires, despite what the world is doing around you. So it's not a narcissistic thing. It is a way of focusing in and yet trying to love our outside world and its people more. In psychology, they have something called the Maslow hierarchy of needs. As you're reading this, see where you're falling on the level of this scale. Where we teach is self-actualization. And that's known as leaving your legacy. We're more creative, we're more spontaneous. We say yes to opportunities more. We know how to problem solve without it getting us highly anxious. We have a love of people. We don't have prejudice against people. We accept the facts and then work with them. It's a very love-based system. And where are most people today? One and two, which is psychological, the basic things the body needs to survive: water, sleep, food, breathing. Homeostasis keeps us alive. And then safety means security of the body, work, bringing in money so you have resources, taking care of the family the best you can, your health. Love and belonging. This is where you have great friends, you have family love, all those difficulty family relationships are worked through, and you have good, loving sexual intimacy with a beautiful partner. And then esteem is feeling that self-love, confidence, that sense of achievement, respect of others. You don't feel like you're competing with other, and then others respect you too. It's this working with a team, whether they're your friends or new acquaintances. So you can see as you're working up the pyramid, the ultimate goal is self-actualization. And just for definition, homeostasis, it is the brain wanting to keep you in the state of normalcy. So what happens when people choose bad partners? Homeostasis makes you keep doing it over and over and over again, which we call RRS, relation repetition syndrome. And the brain likes what it knows, but it can't decipher what is good or what is bad. And that's the problem. So when people feel chemistry, very often it's the wrong person. They're feeling the chemistry and they go for it. And that's the problem. You have to have a higher level of thinking and more the art and psychology of choosing the right partner and knowing why they are good or not good for you. And then you're not wasting time. You're not out there falling in love by chemistry. You're out there really thinking about, who is this partner? Are they the best one for me? Putting self-love and your confidence into it and consciously dating. So there's a lot of education around that topic alone. And leaving a legacy is number 4. I just had no room to put it. My clients are probably now all at the level 4 because they've been working on this, and they continue to do mindset work. And mindset work is there for the rest of your life. We never stop, but they all say, oh my God, when I'm on the other side of the rainbow where the pot of gold is, I look back and it's like, I can't believe I was where I was. It's like, how did I live like that? So once you're on the other side and you feel so much happiness and joy, thanks, guys, you're at 3s, 2s, and 3s. Okay, it's a whole different feeling. It's this sense of calm, and there's very little stress. And if it is, you kind of know how to fix that. Here's Yolanda, and all my clients have shared their stories. As I read these stories, they're to see where mindset works and goal setting works and everything in their life that has changed with personal transformation education. So that's why I'm sharing it from the client's point of view. And Louise, yes, she reached the 4. Here's Yolanda. She's 53. I listened to Rihanna on a 5-day online empowerment summit where she was one of the guest speakers. During her session, she mentioned people who live through childhood trauma, struggle in their relationships, and most of them are toxic relationships. I remember she said, you cannot fix what you don't know or understand. I realized she was talking about me. Her program is unique from other coaching programs and worth every penny. Would recommend Riana Milne's coaching program to anyone struggling, such as myself, in their dating life and sincerely wanted the love they deserved in their lives. It would be the best investment you could make. So she needed some self-love first. She was not a big communicator. She was kind of quiet, kind of shy, and she was very stressed out. She had a great job with the government, but very stressful. So the first thing we looked at, can she realistically retire? And we did all the puzzle pieces, and she felt confident that she could because she really wanted her doctorate degree in finance. Her passion job, she didn't want to stay in the government job. She really wanted to help other women with their finances, women like her. Who had gone through some struggle and came out on the other side. And she goes, I want to give back. Everyone has their own different story of what they're working on. And then once she got herself into school, she goes, now I can relax, do my schoolwork, but now look for love. Not everyone comes in for love or is ready for love right away. We have to look at what's important within you first and healing the trauma pieces first. There was a lot of childhood trauma in her past, so we had to build that confidence in her first. That was most important. Everyone is a different path, a different story. Transformation starts with healing past trauma while increasing self love and confidence. We have to identify and heal the past traumas. That is essential and the first step. And then we teach you techniques for self compassion and self worth. So we want you to overcome any shame and guilt about your past. Your past cannot own you. We process it, we look at it, we understand first what childhood traumas you have and then how they're showing up. And then we get rid of the shame and the guilt, bringing you into the now and creating that life you want now. And then we always have you moving forward towards those goals. So changing your mindset from negative to positive about yourself, your life, your job, that's the negative stuff we call living on the dark side. And then we do everything to bring you into light in all your life areas. It's a very holistic approach, including meditation. All my clients have to meditate using the law of attraction and conscious awareness. A lot of people say meditation, well, I'll listen to a tape and that sounds good. But ours is called divine spiritual meditation, and you do it in quiet. And the reason is you are practicing quieting the mind. And at first people say, oh, I just hear myself chatting in my head. And that's true. But soon you learn to really quiet everything down. And what is happening, we are retraining the brain, calm and quiet the body. And in quantum physics, it is proven 15 minutes of meditation works for 8 to 9 hours on the body. It lowers anxiety, depression, your cortisol levels, which is fight, flight, or freeze, that keeps you in anxiety, and lowers your blood pressure and increases focus and your dopamine and serotonin levels of your brain, which are your high and happy chemicals. So you can change your state of being with your mind alone. Our people don't use medication. If they come to me with medication, usually they want to be weaned off of it because they don't need it. I always say medication's a band-aid because it's not getting to the real root of the issues, which is the childhood trauma and then love trauma if you endured that as well. So we have to clean all that up. The law of attraction is part of the meditation. What we think about does come about. So if you're always thinking negative thoughts, or I'm going to lose my job, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong, and you see nothing right, then that is also an issue, right? Because that's going to come about for you. So we have to do all these trauma recovery mindset tools and strategies. There's a lot of them, and they have to be in constant practice because it's at least 30 days to break a bad habit and 30 days to make a good one. Now, even 30 days, you get it, but then you're going to be challenged. And then you're like, can I get it? Now I got to use this strategy. So that rainbow is a practicing curve. You've got the skills and we start practicing and they learn them right away, class 1 or 2. If they have a challenge that comes up, they run it by me and say, okay, let's see how we can find the solutions to this issue. And then we start working on those solutions. And then conscious awareness is thinking before you do, say, act, text, write anything. And there's always 5 things we think about with choices. Is this best for me, the woman or the person? Is it best for the one I love if you're in a relationship? Is it the best choice for my kids? Is it good for my reputation? Number 5 is if in doubt, go without. Don't do it, don't say it, don't write it. And I say then throw it into your meditation, give it a day or 2, and then choose. But we don't procrastinate. We take care of things so we don't live with anxiety. Then we have the goal setting system going as well. Okay, that's like usually module 2, where we set up the goals and we start chopping away at what you desire in your life and we create it. Those of you new to childhood trauma work, science has proven that it works in 7 life areas. The most important for my clients are areas 1 through 5, and it goes backwards on the clock. It does impact your physical health, your emotional health. You have trouble recognizing emotions or you can't cope very well to stress. You have that shame and guilt or excessive worry, rumination of the brain. You keep thinking of somebody over and over and over and over again. That is a sign childhood trauma is there. Feelings of helplessness, you don't know how to get out of it. Whatever happened in your life, let's say it's around a relationship, then very often you take this blame and shame because of me or this or that. We have to empower you around your emotions. Just because partner A did something to you doesn't mean it was your fault. If you were a stand-up partner, and most of my clients coming to me were, and were the victim of the narcissist, then you just got to, move forward, knowing that you've done everything possible that you could to be a good person, and don't put that shame or guilt on yourself. So we have to get your mind strong enough to just say next and move on. Okay, relationship, difficulty forming relationships sometimes with friends, or problems in your romantic relationships where there's fighting all the time. Intergenerational cycles of abuse or neglect. It is true that childhood trauma goes through at least 3 generations. So once we identify what yours are, if you're a coaching client of mine, we go deeper, like what did mom and dad go through? That helps us to rewrite the story in our minds. The rewriting of the story is spiritual forgiveness and letting us kind of say, okay, I can have some compassion for that. And then we don't dwell on it anymore. It kind of just disappears. We look at the story differently. Mental health, anxiety or depression are the top 2 in our world today. And then, of course, negative self-esteem, PTSD is trauma, and sometimes suicidal hopelessness. The behavior, social withdrawal. Some people say, well, I'll just take time and not date. Well, that's not the solution. The solution is let's get the skills so you don't pick a bad partner anymore. And then heal myself. And then I'm going to pick later, when I am ready and have the dating skills, an emotionally healthy partner, and not settle for less. Poor impulse control is there. That's what gets couples in troubles the most. Someone with high impulse is usually the cheater. We really want to watch that. Anyone sexually acting out or leading with sex, that is a red flag. So you want to know all the red flags. There's 36 of them. Well, my clients know what those are too. Those of you new to trauma work, this is a question for you guys to look at, because it's a really important chart here. This is my childhood trauma assessment. It's much more involved when you do it with me. But in general, did you have any addiction in the family? We're not talking just drug and alcohol. Sex, porn use, gambling, hoarding, eating, spending, TV watching, gaming, social media addiction, verbal messaging, and write down as I describe them if that happened to you. And it could be in your family, community, or within your school. Okay, verbal messaging, yelled at a lot, told you're no good. Verbal messaging. Did you hear the words, I love you from mom and dad? Did you hear, good job, kiddo, I'm proud of you? Verbal messaging for my parents on this class. So important for your kids to see them and listen and get off the phones and the computers and really engage with your children. They feel affirmed, they feel seen. Emotional abuse or neglect, we know what that is. Any physical abuse, rape, or molestation, again, inside or outside of the home. Physical abuse is any kind of hitting, threatening behavior. Abandonment, fault or no fault. The fault abandonment is never seeing your child, leaving the child when the relationship breaks up, or even physically being there but emotionally absent. A no fault abandonment is if a parent happens to die early, a parent is deployed for war, or they travel a lot for work, but that's how they support the family. Still a feeling of abandonment. That was one of mine. I didn't know my dad was FBI, CIA, James Bond. He was a very cool dude. But I do remember asking a lot of times, where's daddy? Is daddy coming home? And I was always worried something happened to him. So therefore, I still have that childhood trauma of that no fault abandonment. Okay, number 6, if you're adopted, part of the foster care system, or leaving your home to live with another relative. I was working with someone today. She goes, well, I had my house, but my grandma was next door, but I was always over at her house. Well, you psychologically and emotionally left your home because you had a very difficult father. Personal trauma means you were bullied. You felt different. You didn't fit in, from a different culture, coming out LGBTQ, maybe not accepted by peers or family, maybe the only African American in all Caucasian school. For some reason, you felt different. You might have been a chubby child like me. I was a skinny, nerdy child, teenager. So I got bullied on that. And sibling trauma, usually it means your sibling was the golden child, the favored one. Not that they caused that. The parent just picked them So they could have been the star athlete, like my two brothers were all American swimming, water polo, so they were the golden children. But I love them. I'm very close to my brothers. Could be a sibling was born sickly and they needed more of your parents' attention, or it could have been the sibling bullied you. So those three scenarios. Number 9 is family and community trauma. Community trauma example is COVID, where it impacts our community at large, our Mother Nature events, flood, fire, hurricanes. Family trauma is always remember growing up with lack messages. There's not enough money for heat. I'm going to lose my job. You know, a lot of lack messages there. Moving a lot because you're a military family, just going through some kind of crises that you remember was difficult for your family. And number 10 is mental health issues in mom or dad. Most difficult, bipolar and borderline personality disorder. Bipolar is quick changing moods. When they're good, they're great. When they're bad, they're horrid. And bipolar is manic depressive. So these are the top traumas. You know, when I was doing research on this, immediately I knew I was bullied. And then the one with my dad traveling all the time, I didn't see it as trauma. We normalize things as kids. It's really important that we identify them. And everyone has childhood trauma. 100% of us have several, a couple, at least 3. A lot of times I will do the assessment work in the discovery session, and people might choose 3 or 4. And then after I question them, they're like, yeah, that was traumatic for me. And then there's always usually a couple more. You know, the more that we have endured, and then we look at the severity levels, how bad were they? And that's what impacts our psyche. It makes us less confident, low self-esteem, afraid to speak up, people pleasers, maybe jealous, maybe controlling, could be moodiness. It comes out in many, many different ways. And then when we know what it is, this is when we go in and fix that and rewrite the stories and do all the mental mindset and trauma recovery stuff. When I was doing the research, no therapist could help me. I was a therapist. I went to 7 therapist friends when I went through a difficult love trauma. No one could help me. And I'm like, I got to figure out what this is. Because childhood trauma was not taught in a triple master's. And I was a good student. I was summa cum laude. Didn't hear the term whatsoever. It was a very new research when I came out with this in 2012 and been speaking globally since 2015. This is one of the first things we do. That way I can help you best. Let's look at John's example. You know, like I love when my clients share their story because it's so helpful for you all to say, oh, okay, this happened. John shared he had struggled with romantic relationships most of his life. When he finally did the trauma checklist, he realized that he had experienced 8 of the 10 major childhood traumas. I discovered that my own childhood abandonment, family addiction issues, and emotional abuse led me to seek avoided and toxic partners. I lived most of my life in the victim mindset of wondering why I couldn't find a healthy partner, but I was subconsciously choosing narcissistic partners based on chemistry. It honestly felt like an awakening to have the power of this knowledge. It's so hard to believe that I've been fumbling through dating for 20 plus years without it. Rihanna calls you forward to be your best self in all life areas. Since starting the program, I've been nominated for a 2nd Emmy Award in his profession. He lives out in California and worked on Hollywood sets. And it took the major leap of faith to embark on a new career of flipping houses. Where fear held me stuck, I finally went on for my dreams. So he won the Emmy and is successfully flipping houses, making the money he desired because his dream was to live half his life traveling around Europe. Here's a question for you guys. Transformation starts with healing past trauma while increasing self-love and confidence. So what past childhood trauma would you like to heal? Which one in particular sticks out to you like, oh my God, I remember all the abandonment growing up? Because again, once you recognize which ones they are, then it's so much easier to help rewrite these stories. Funny, I was telling someone today, I remember my first compliment for my mom is when my book, Love Beyond Your Dreams, went to #1 bestseller. And it ended up on Barnes and Noble store. She goes, I actually went and got the book and I read the whole thing. It's really good. I said, you did? You got my book and you read it? You know, it was so amazing. I got a compliment. I remember it. It's my first real compliment. I was 50 when that happened. Love trauma, for people that don't understand what that is, and do you still feel it's impacting you today? Because that's a really tough one. The signs include feeling physically sick, exhausted, anxious, stressed out, hopeless, jealous, feeling not good enough, no matter what you did to try to save that relationship, that one is a deep wound. I had two love traumas, and the second one is what led me to this work to figure out what the hell am I doing? Why am I attracting toxic partners? I don't get it. I'm a really good lady. I work really hard. I've got great kids. Like, what am I doing wrong? And that was the most frustrating thing. And that's where I came up with the quote, well, I can't change what I don't know or understand. That's when I went into deep psychological journals, pieced all this together, and it was childhood trauma. What is your biggest challenge? Is it healing your past, dealing with any past shame, guilt, or feeling unworthy from any bullying or verbal messaging? Overcoming your negative fear-based mindset? Does your mind ruminate a lot, thinking of the past or still living in the past? And then procrastination, reaching your goals because you're afraid to try. Like John was afraid to try flipping houses. He's researched it, he looked into it, he had people lined up for the loan, but he never went for it. He got the confidence to go for his dreams. We address all of this and very, very intensely because I get it. I've been there where you guys have been. There are techniques for increasing your sense of empowerment, confidence, and self-love. And you all noticed on one of my slides, so I teach about vulnerability. And I know my clients will laugh because I hate that word. I hate where coaches who don't know what they're doing say you have to be more vulnerable to find a guy. Absolutely not. The narcissists and sociopaths can smell vulnerability a mile away. We talk about empowered communication, empowered conscious dating. It is a sense of confidence and self-love first. So there's a huge connection between using trauma recovery skills and mindset tools, which leads to personal success. First is education. You need to learn the strategies for overcoming fears, negativity, dysfunctional behavioral patterns, and self-doubt, while at the same time, we're embracing your strengths and what is working well and building on those. Then we're rewriting the story of your past experiences. We do capping and correcting of the anxious mind. The negative fear-based mindset, like I said, is called living in the dark side. And that's where depression, anxiety, fear, hate, jealousy, control, murder, rape, anything horrible, dark lives in the dark side. Ruminating mind is the dark side. You can't get out of it. You feel like you're trapped. That's the anxious mind. Capping it is you take that negative thought and you go into the light side, and let's say, I'm horrible at my job. I heard that from someone today, and I capped it and corrected it right away. I said, well, wait a minute. You have 30 years of experience as an accountant. You've got to be great at it. So you've worked for a big corporation. It's your second one. This is a learning curve. It's okay. Everyone understands there's a learning curve when you take on a new job. So she was so used to beating herself up and putting herself down. That's the negative mindset. I showed her and I said, now this is an example of capping and correcting. You say in your mind, I'm really good at what I do. I've worked successfully for 30 years with a company, left that and got a better paying job at a bigger corporation. I'm doing great. She goes, wow, I never even thought I could do that. It is a practice though, because we have thousands and thousands of thoughts a day. We have to start noticing our thoughts. So yes, we are thinking about what we're thinking about. And initially, that might drive you a little crazy, but eventually you find that you have very few negative thoughts. And if one pops up, it's instantly capped and corrected. You do all these other mindset tools and you just move forward. You know how to deal with that. So we use the conscious awareness for making choices. I told you about the 5 choices. And then we're always looking and living with gratitude. We are always noticing our blessings and saying it to ourselves as a new blessing comes. It's too easy to see the negativity of the world. So that's why so many people are in a state of distress. So instead, we notice, oh my God, it's a beautiful sunny day. Noticing nature and what's around you and noticing the blessings. It's just feels like so much better to live that way. Here's Maria. I love her story as an example here, where she overcame fear, anxiety, and procrastination. Again, they're all on the dark side. I forgot to mention procrastination because that's over there too. She came to me at 63. She started with my program, Success in Dating, loved it, and signed up for Dating to Mating, which we call DTM. Riana helped me work through my fears and helped me put together a practical plan to solve a 3-year problem I was anxious over. And it only took a few weeks with Riana to turn my real estate nightmare into a plan and the solution into a reality. Now, I'm also a licensed realtor, guys. So when she told me she had a real estate problem, I said, let's dig into this. And I knew enough real estate law how to help her. And if I didn't have the answer, I would have looked into it to help her. She was so obsessed with this problem. So the first thing we have to do is handle this. We're going to start this first. When you're so nervous about something, your cortisol is up. Again, learning and focus is down. So if someone comes with me, and a lot of people are coming with a very toxic boyfriend, ex-husband situation, child's father situations, I got to put those fires out first. Then I can calm the body down so you can open up to learning the rest. So this was her first situation. Then we went on to her boyfriend and her situation. Before working with Riana, I was feeling stagnant in my love relationship, unsure of myself and how to best have a relationship with a man who I love. And now we are engaged. So she got engaged during her coaching with me. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Riana. She helped me with past childhood traumas, taught me to communicate better. She was very shut down, difficult parent situation. So she learned empowered communication and state her wants, needs, and desires with her partner. She gained the boundaries and the clarity she needed in her love relationship and career goals. She launched a new business while she was with me and learned to find more balance and ease in her life. I finally understand the concept of self-worth and self-love, the most priceless gifts in my life. If you are ready to put in the work, then Rihanna's a perfect person to coach you through anything. And I love when they say put in the work, because like I said, it's easy, but there's work to do. And the work is filling out worksheets and showing up. If you show up, I can do the transformation. Nobody misses their classes. Nobody misses because it's an investment of time and money in yourselves. But if you do your worksheets and you read the books, you will get the transformation. So that is the work. But they love the learning because they feel the change going on as we progress up the rainbow. Here's a question for you. Which new transformational skills would you like to learn for your life? What is your struggle, goal, or dreams that you need support with tonight? What new skills would you want or need to learn to reach your dreams? Like, do you need help with empowered communication or boundary setting or stopping rumination, dating skills to find a great person? If you're in a relationship, how to work better as a team, understanding your partner better, how to negotiate through issues. We learned that there is no yelling. We don't yell or scream ever at our children or our partners, and only if they're in harm's way, just saying, watch out. I mean, Chris and I, we have never yelled at each other, not one time. And he loves this. He goes, you say what you need, Riana. I'm not guessing. Like I've dated every other woman. It's like they shut down, they get moody, they don't say anything, and I'm supposed to guess what they need. And there are step-by-step rules in empowered communication. I use them all and they work. So your partner is not then defensive. I use what I teach, right? It's all from research. It worked for me and it's working always for my clients. So I continue to teach what works. This question is important for me as I'm designing this new course on personal transformation because that's what focus on. I focus on what people want and need. So if you want to share anything like what you really want to learn more of, that would be awesome. Self-rumination and self-love to feel more empowered. Awesome. Okay, good. Because I focus on that one a lot, especially the self-love. And empowerment is everywhere in how you feel about yourself and your career, especially in dating. In relationship, feeling empowered and speaking your mind with loving communication. Louise does that beautifully now. But it's skills. It's skills and practice because it's not always easy, not when we didn't grow up with it, but you will get it. I assure you, that's my job. The importance of mindset for success in life, love, and business. Developing this success-oriented mindset takes practice over many months to overwrite these childhood training messages or thoughts that lead to our problem behaviors or the way we feel about ourselves. And overcoming the fear-based negative limiting beliefs, super important. We get you all out of the dark side. Again, we understand we were programmed as children. We understand our parents did the best that they knew how. And we dig deep into that to find that spiritual forgiveness. That's part of the healing journey. It is true in my research that 8 out of 10 people in our society have negative fear-based thoughts. And that means 8 out of 10 people are taking fearful actions. So that's why there's anger and shootings and all this upset and yelling and screaming in relationships. And because people don't have the skills to know how to work through their pain. The more I teach, the more my clients I know are out there teaching others, or they notice someone with childhood trauma and then they refer me someone, hey, I know someone could use your help. And this is how we are a family. Our mission is helping to change the way the world loves. So we do that together. What we're fighting against is that homeostasis, where the brain, it's a survival mechanism, keeps us in our past norms. It likes what's normal, whether it's good or it's bad. So we have to become more consciously aware, and our conscious awareness overwrites subconscious behavior patterns, thoughts, and feelings. The role of mindset in personal transformation. Developing a growth mindset is essential to happiness, growing and challenging yourself. And that fosters resilience. The more resilient you are, the challenges come, we expect them. But then the question is, what do you do with them? Do you freak out? Do you become the victim? Do you say, why me? Or do you say, okay, this happened. I got plan A, plan B, and plan C of how I'm handling this. And then I move forward. That's super important. And this resilience comes from my master's thesis, where I worked with teenagers in Atlantic City High School, one of the roughest areas of South Jersey. And I did a program called Teen Vision for free. They showed up for 6 months. I did pre-test and post-test. This paper is now on the internet. You can look at it at any time. I think it's 200 pages with 88 professional sources. And it was all about teaching resiliency to teens from trauma and teaching them to perform better in school. So raise their grades, have more friends, be able to communicate with their parents, do less risky act out behaviors. And now I think it's written in 14 different languages. It's a more scientific paper with all these mathematical formulas I've never used since my master's program, but it did come out to be an excellent research project. And so many kids transformed. I think I had 300 people in the group. It was amazing to see their transformation. It's really beautiful. The question is, how do you react when you're challenged? Can you do it with a calm, easy mindset? Because it makes you be successful no matter what occurs to you or in our outside world. You always have that plan A, B, C in place. You always have the sense of calm. Why? Because you're meditating daily. You are able to focus in on the issue. Meditation in the brain calms down the body. When you're out of that fight or flight response, you have a much better sense of clarity and direction in what you're going to go. This is why meditation is something we all do every day. Holistic living, mind, body, spirit, very important. We look at all three. Conscious awareness, always training to overwrite the subconscious. They're all part of mindset skills to create your success. I always love this picture. So how do you see yourself? Are you a kitten or a tiger? Or do you play small? A lot of people always say no to opportunities or afraid to try. Or do you say yes to brave choices? I remember I took a singles cruise after breaking up with someone who I knew wasn't the right person for me. It wasn't a tough breakup or anything. I just said, I don't see us moving forward. You're a nice person. But I moved forward and I said, you know what? I got to get out and meet some new friends. I've been in this relationship for a while. So I put myself on a singles cruise. I knew two people, my friend James and Richie. And then there was like 70 singles there. And I met the cruise director, Shelby from travelfund.com. She goes, you're a coach. I said, Shelby, I'm volunteering myself if there's any fights or people fighting over the same guy or anything going on, just grab me. I'll be glad to help you out. And she goes, really? Well, would you like to give a speech during our cocktail hour? I'm like, of course I would. Sure, yes. And I'm like, okay, great. I got to give a speech. I have no materials, but I'll do it. Yes. So from there, she asked me to be one of her travel agents. And I love travel so much. I said, yes, why not? So my travel company is called Romance International Travel. And now I do transformation vacations. I don't do a lot of them because they're a lot of work, but I did one in Cancun last year for my birthday. We had 12 people and it was amazing. They loved it and there was so much change. And so, like, I'm always saying yes when an opportunity looks. I go through the 5 choices. Does it help me? Is it good for my reputation? Is it something I'll love? And then I say yes. These are brave choices. Like John, flipping houses, and Yolanda, I'm going back for my doctorate. This is when we say yes to life and growth. And that's when life becomes exciting. Because when you feel excited and happy about your life, it is anti-aging. It keeps you excited about life and it keeps you growing and learning. Here's Jamie's great story using mindset. She really worked hard on that. She had a lot of childhood trauma. She says, I had a lot to work on and correct as I was an ACOA, adult child of trauma, with abandonment concerns and was choosing partners who were no good for me. Riana helped me change my mindset and overall self-worth. She taught me to value myself and know my requirements and non-negotiables when choosing an emotionally healthy partner. I've already improved my career, personal life, and family relationships. I'm ready for an evolved partnership, and I'm now dating someone exclusively for over 9 months who also wants marriage and a family. I've learned to follow my dreams, take risks, and not be afraid anymore to be alone. My biggest strength has to become to stay positive, and I feel attractive and amazing about who I am. Jamie is now married. They had a cute little girl, and they just had another baby boy. It's really cool because once my clients graduate, they get to be on my personal Facebook page. So I can see all their stories. I can see all their kids, and I can see all their boyfriends and girlfriends and their marriage pictures and so forth. I asked Jamie to come on my podcast, as Beth is on one of my podcasts, so make sure you check that out. What show that was, Beth? I think number 123. They like to tell their stories and they're very inspiring. Questions on your mindset. Ask yourself from 1 to 100%, how many negative thoughts do you think you have in a day? It's like, it's a 50-50, which is 50%. Do you find a lot of negative thoughts kind of overwhelming you? That would be 80%, or is it like 10%? So Louise is at 10 because she's done a lot of work with this. Camille's at 50. We'll get that down to much lower. Beth, 5 to 10%, depending on stressors going on at the time. Yeah. So again, our stressors can come from work. They can come from outside news that's upsetting for us. It could be something that happens to our children. I have adult children and 6 grandchildren now. That could be stressful because it's based around love. We will be challenged and stressors will come. The important thing is, what do you do with that? And then how can that more positive mindset impact or improve your life, love situation, and business or career goals? We're not so afraid. We become those tigers and know exactly what to do with it. It's a great feeling when that occurs. Embracing life change and growth. So the importance of accepting and thriving through change. And Tony Robbins, I've been reading since I was a teenager, all his books, I have all his programs. And I love this quote from him: if you're not growing, you're dying. And I always visualize a plant because I love flowers. And that's myself too. Am I feeding my brain what it needs through meditation and my mindset work and my spiritual reading every week? Am I growing by challenging myself? What's my next new challenge? What do my clients need or my people on my email list need? What's going on in today's world where I can be a help? And that's why that led to this new course development. Self-focus, developing more productive and positive habits for yourself and having clearer and better boundaries with others. We learn to say no with love and grace, but we definitely have boundaries and we can explain ourselves through our boundaries. We don't shut down anymore. We definitely use this 8D for success system. It used to be 5Ds and teaching from my dad, but I had to add 3 more. And it's first, decide what you really want. You have to desire it more than anything. So it's going to take precedence in your life for a while. You dedicate to the process from A to Z. You don't quit. You're determined it's going to work. You keep working the system to figure out what it needs. Devotion is the spiritual belief system behind it. I am a very spiritual person. I'm also Reverend Rihanna. Been doing marriages since 1996. Devotion is that spiritual belief system in yourself and in others. Dare to dream. Pick your big dreams. Don't pick small ones. And drive keeps you going when it gets tough. Like when I have those 12-hour days where I'm writing textbooks or courses, that's drive and the discipline to finish and not procrastinate. When we have these, we can go into that. It's like, okay, I got to do drive for a week or two, then I can go back to my balance. So we can go in and out of what we need with our goal setting, but we use our goal setting system daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. And every year I do write a book, Your Best Year Now. I try to remember to send it out to all my grads, or they just write me, hey, Ree, can I have the new, New Year's Eve goal book? Because they love staying with that system. because it helps them really achieve their goals and dreams. So I've been using goal setting since I learned it since I was 18, 19 years old. Even though that challenge happened to me when I married the first husband, the father of my two girls, and my clients know the story, but he stole 200,000 from my mother. I was 26 years old. I had a $750,000 bankruptcy and owed my mom $200,000. By age 28, I was able to buy my first home despite the bankruptcy, winning all those awards in my talent agency. That's why I opened with my first month's rent. I couldn't get a loan, never got a business loan to grow a business. It's all purpose and passion. No matter what challenges come to you, and I've had a lot come to me, took me 16 years to pay off my mom as a single mom, and he went for child support. Can we talk about sociopath? That was a real sociopath. And he never, of course, apologized because a sociopath never does. No matter what you've been through, you've got to get your mind totally focused and work on the goals. My goals was let me grow this model and talent school. Let me have fun with it. It's a business I can work and still pick up my girls from school at 3 o'clock. So work from 9 to 3, pick up the kids. When I don't have the kids that day, I work until 9 p.m., have classes Wednesday night, Saturday mornings. I can do this. Okay. It's always, what can I do with a bad situation? So when you practice this, no matter what comes your way, you can find a way to excel beyond these challenges. Questions on your goals in life. How do you usually react when change happens to you when you're challenged? Do you get nervous? Do you get shut down? Do you get angry? Do you lash out? Because that's the reaction is what we're going to be very conscious on changing. And then how can you better embrace change and be more balanced in your future? We really want to balance work, love, or dating to find love and your relationship, time with kids, if you have them, time for yourself too, to de-escalate. All of it is super important. Time with friends. Okay, let's go into this section of love.
Do you feel like you have tried everything? Self-help books, therapy, relationship summits, retreats, online courses, podcasts. But you still struggle with toxic love, attracting narcissistic partners, ongoing anxiety, depression, codependency, love addiction, stress, moodiness, lack of hope, feeling stuck in your career, and you just can't seem to get love right. It's time to heal your unconscious behavioral patterns caused by unhealed childhood trauma. I'm Riana Milne, the love trauma recovery expert and certified life and love coach who helps thousands around the world, and I can help you too. I specialize in helping adults heal from unconscious childhood and love relationship traumas, emotional triggers, and dysfunctional behavioral patterns, which have been impacting them negatively in life, love, or business, to transform and create the life they desire and to have the love they deserve. Talk to me today at rianamilne.com and get the free ebook below to learn more.